Let's go over to Robinhood land, talk about sad news there. Robinhood is laying off about 7% of their staff, according to a Wall Street Journal article. This comes, of course, after they have delisted a few tokens that are named in a few SEC lawsuits. The announcements were made earlier in the month, but they are being delisted this evening at 7 p.m. So if you have any of these tokens, they are being forced liquidated, turned into dollars, which will then sit in your Robinhood account. You are no longer able to hold them. The layoff news, of course, a little bit bigger. This is, I believe, their third round of layoffs. The app became pretty ubiquitously used among a lot of people who are interested in crypto over the last 2 years. A lot of people trading Dogecoin, of course, on top of Robinhood. Since then, however, trading volumes have fallen by about 50%, leading to layoffs. Jen, I'm going to throw the story over to you. I think this is the story that we've seen with it is a story we've seen with most crypto exchanges, having some of the lowest volumes since 2019. Though this app is more forward-facing to a lot of ordinary retail consumers, so I actually expected volumes to be like a little bit healthier than they are.
Yeah, so I think Zach said this on the show before. So the tokens that they're delisting today are Polygon, Solana, and ADA. And I think if we think about the retail customer, there may be, especially not in this market, looking for those types of tokens, or maybe they're going after the Bitcoins and the Ethers of the world and experimenting with some of the altcoins, but not just like kind of aping into them. And if they are, maybe they're doing that on other platforms. And so I look at Robinhood and I look at their story and their history with the SEC, trying to get registration, not being able to get it after 16 months, listing these tokens, now seeing the SEC going after Binance and Coinbase, listing them in those lawsuits. I just think that it's a good business decision for Robinhood to say okay, there's not a lot of people trading these tokens. There's not a lot of people buying these tokens. Let's delist them for now. Maybe they're going to bring them back later when there's more regulatory clarity. On the layoff side of things, I hate to be like the Grim Reaper on the show today and keep talking about a recession, but this is another, I think business decision that Robinhood probably had to make. They didn't take it lightly, but to survive the next year in this industry and in the broader tech industry, I just think it makes sense to reduce your workforce if you can. I think if we head into a recession, there are not going to be many new users using products like Robinhood. And so I think maybe they are just bracing for what's ahead. Zach?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I don't think these are causally linked, right? I don't think it's like, oh, the tokens are being delisted and, oh, that's what's leading to job cuts. Clearly, there are bigger issues systemically in the macroeconomic landscape that probably indicate why volumes are down significantly. As it relates to crypto, price go down, interest go down, trading volume go down, users go down. And I think probably those brands that are most far out into the mainstream witness that most pointedly, right? Robinhood certainly being chief among them. So the fact that, the crypto options on the platform are being limited, it just kind of speaks to the fact that they don't want that smoke with Gary Gensler. They don't want to be the next SEC lawsuit. They do not want that fight. So they're saying, hey, out of an abundance of caution, as much as we hate to do it, we're delisting these tokens. We're liquidating your positions, and you have cash now. It is kind of ultimately a self-custody story, I think, right? These highly custodial platforms acting in their interest, not necessarily yours, right? And I think crypto, the way it works in terms of on-chain custody, is sort of very different from what this picture is currently playing out as. So it is interesting, again, to see the tale of sort of highly custodial fintech like crypto gateways acting sort of against the ethos of decentralized crypto in the first place. But hey, you can't fault them. They're a business. They don't want to get in trouble with the law, and they're just trying to act accordingly. So we'll see this play out potentially on some other platforms. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of platforms in the space seem to be taking these claims, not proven, not supported by law, but claims that these tokens are securities. They're acting first rather than potentially winding up in a fight of their own with the SEC while it's on the warpath. Will, last thoughts on this?
Yeah, I want to go back to the point you just made, which is they don't want the smoke with the SEC. And I think that sort of points back to the SEC's whole strategy here, right? They're going to bring up a lawsuit against a few exchanges. They're going to point out a few tokens in that lawsuit. And then before the lawsuit even goes to court, guess what? All these other exchanges have delisted the tokens affiliated with the lawsuit. All those tokens start to have liquidity dry up, as a lot of the capital that'd be interested in these tokens does reside in the US or with US citizens. Before you know it, you don't really have to worry about enforcing against these token projects, right? These foundations are all over the world. They have developers all over the world, and though they want the US capital to be able to pump the token price, if you just go after the exchanges, it really can solve all your problems if you're a regulator there. So expect to see more of this, especially if this Coinbase one does to continue to move through. I was actually surprised, but there was only a few tokens listed in the Coinbase lawsuit with the SEC. There's a lot of tokens on Coinbase. There's a lot of tokens on Binance as well. And I somewhat expected to see just like pages of ticker names to be included. But they only included a few, and of those few, we're already seeing people delist them on different exchanges. But Jen, I think you have the last story for the day.
I have the last story. I just want to say, Zach, I love that you brought up the self-custody angle because there's so many self-custody solutions popping up in parallel with this story. And I think it'll be interesting to watch how the two stories pan out.